Welcome back to Connecting the Thoughts, a podcast exploring the intersection of leadership, nervous system capacity, and the internal shifts that happen as we evolve in our work and our lives. I'm your host, Megan, and today we are joined by Yuki Carlson. I do want to dive more into this about what you were experiencing. I know you stepped into that role and you said it was a burning fire. What were some things that were coming up for you that you were noticing where, again, you transitioned here now, right? But how, before you transitioned, what did that look like for you?
Yeah, before I transitioned, you mean the project management role?
Yeah, going from that project management role and almost coming to that realization, right? Like, this is not for me and I need to make a shift. What were some of those emotions or feelings in your body or what you were kind of experiencing?
Right. So there were several things going on there. For one, I
Okay.
was in research and development before, and that is a little more like innovation management, right? Like where
Yeah.
you're exploring what kind of inventions could become a project later or a
Yeah.
product later.
Okay.
And then I switched into that department, which actually sold products to a customer. And so project management there was entirely different from what I've experienced before.
Yeah.
It was suddenly really more like, okay, you handle the budget, you handle the calendar, you try to organize all the people working on it,
Yeah.
but that's it.
Right.
And
Yeah. Okay.
yeah,
Right.
before
Yeah.
that, it was
Yeah.
a lot more creative. There was a lot more going on, like, oh, how about we do this and how, right? Like, and I realized that this role didn't have what, like, what made me thrive.
Yeah. It wasn't
It
serving you.
drained me.
Yeah. It was
Yeah,
taking more than it was filling your cup. So it was like you were almost searching for your purpose in that moment and like, what do I actually want to do? Which is right.
exactly.
So many things on the table too for options, right? So now do you feel like that kind of is what you got you into helping other leaders like transition is because you were also seeing where you didn't have support in those positions kind of?
Yeah, support, but also what I realized when I stepped into my own business is suddenly I caught myself at 2 o'clock in the morning and said like, oh, just a little more. I don't want to go to bed yet. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, wow, like how can work be so energizing?
Right. Like it's so stimulating all the time and you don't want to shut it off because it's your baby innately, right? Like you want to be taking care of it and making sure it's thriving.
Yeah, and I just realized, right, like if you're doing the right thing,
Hmm.
it will energize you. It won't drain you. And I
Yes.
think that is what I want to help people find for themselves because I like when I talk to leaders, I so many times I hear stuff like that they're like dreading work or that they're tired or that they feel empty inside.
Yes.
And
All very,
yeah, I
yeah.
want to help them find their thing.
Yeah, like find their purpose and their passion and what lights them up instead of taking everything away from that. So now, as you work with leaders, how do you feel like they respond from you already walking through this, right? Like you've already kind of dealt with this in your life. Do you feel like you find your aligned clients and the people that like are meant to work with you in this route? Or do you feel like everyone just kind of is looking for that and ready to transition, but they don't even know where to begin? So you're the perfect person to kind of like fall into this, right? Where would you say your clientele base is at?
Yeah, so I would say what works best for my clients is if they actually intend to step out of corporate and
Yes.
want to found something like of their own.
Yeah,
I think that is where I can help most because
absolutely.
if they are just looking for the next job,
Yeah.
then yeah, it's a little
Right.
more tricky. So for me, it's more than just like finding like the next job or finding a, like a business, like filling a business canvas. For me, it's more like okay, analyzing what's fundamentally misaligned in
Yeah.
their current life, finding what they want instead, and then building towards it.
Yeah, almost I like to call this like the pause. That's so we don't want to pause, right? And take a step to just look at what we actually want and what our desires are. But innately, when we do take that moment, even though we want to keep speeding and racing, like you said, to the next job or to the next thing we can achieve or accomplish, it's like let's pause for just a second and now like find those deeper layers of like digging and like what really lights you up. What do you find enjoyment in? So as you're coaching these other people, and yes, this is your purpose and all of that, do you feel like project management ties into this? I'm like, I have never been a project manager, right? So it's like, yes, being in a leadership role, where do you see the similarities and the differences between these two roles?
So yeah, project management is a big part, not the sole part, but obviously if you want to get something built,
yes,
then you need fundamental project management skills for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I assume that most leaders that I'm working with have like some knowledge about project management.
Yeah.
So usually that's not the big issue.
That's not, yep.
But sometimes it's the smaller things, like that they're planning too big tasks and then feeling overwhelmed, or that they can't find the routine that like provides the momentum without burning them out.
Yes.
And so that is where I step in and help.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So when you're kind of looking at your clients like this is where I like to speak on like capacity, right? And just kind of getting things in a range where we have a certain amount that we can hold, and how do we create something that we can hold a little bit more of, more space for that. But I think this is where it's so beautifully aligned, and why I wanted to have this conversation with you is we can expand ourselves, right? And keep building that capacity and keep expanding here. But if it's not aligned, does that expansion necessarily serve us in the ways that we want? So when your clients come to you, where do you kind of feel that they're at with this, if you will, ready for this transition? Do you think that they are ready for the transition, but they almost don't know what it even looks like, and they're coming to you as like ready to start from almost square one, right? And like, let's guide through this. Or do you feel like they almost have an idea already? They're ready to transition, but that's scary now, right? As we're expanding and we're learning new things. Or is it could be variable, right? It could be so individualized. That's where I'm just like, what do you kind of see amongst your clients?
Yeah, I see different stages.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
some know, like some have an idea, like a rough idea of what they want to build for years.
Yeah.
But then they were kind of stuck in actually like doing the pivot.
Yeah.
And I had other people who were just unhappy, and when they talked to me, they finally realized, oh wait, there might be a possibility that this is not normal. Like they could be actually something more to life.
Right. Like there's more out there for us for sure. Is that kind of something that you started to realize when you were having those nights where it was 2 a.m. and you're like, I don't want to stop working? Or you're kind of like, hey, am I right? It's not a bad thing to work either, right? But like there's also so many other things to life. Like you deserve so many wonderful things, right? And all those different layers. Was that almost like your alarm sound, or were there other little hidden things that were just kind of like, okay, maybe I'm going to look at this?
It was really, for me, how do I say that? It's like what I noticed there at 2 a.m. is that I tapped into something that has been there the entire time, and I kept ignoring it.
Yeah.
So what I caught myself at 2 a.m. was writing.
Okay.
Like I was writing a novel at the time.
Yes.
And it's funny because like even as a child, I wrote my first books. It's like I still remember like gluing together pages, like actually binding them when I was barely able to write yet. And
that's
as
a great
teenager,
memory.
I was having another idea. And then again, right, like I heard people in university like comment on, oh, they don't want to write their PhD thesis. It's so tedious. And I was like, really? It's like, I don't mind.
Like, this is no thing for me. Like, I got no problem doing this.
Even more funny, I actually did a career test after like my PhD to figure out what I wanted to work. So it was trying to kind of analyze your personality and then map it to whatever requirements a job has.
Okay.
So it says like, okay, this job has too much of this for your needs, and that one has too little of that.
Yep.
And there was one job which was entirely green, like entirely mapping my personality.
Yep.
And that was being a writer.
Really?
And I dismissed it.
Ah.
Yeah, I dismissed it.
That's crazy, isn't it? That's so crazy. But did you? Because you still are writing, like you're writing books, but like, to almost have that realization after the fact when it's like it was always there almost in your face. It's kind of like, were you just like, oh, this makes sense for me. Like it was always there.
Yeah, but I was so stuck in that, like what society deems success, right? Like
Yeah,
society
of
says,
course.
like, okay, you do career, you have to like climb the ranks, you have
Yeah.
to earn a lot of money, you have to own, I don't know, several cars and a house and whatnot. And I was stuck in there, and I said, like, writer, really? It's like I can't earn money with that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I definitely hear you. I'm like, this is a very relatable story. I had a friend once that went to go be a lawyer, but innately, what her passion you could always hear is that she hoped that later in her life, right? Once she did that success and all of that, she reached those milestones, that she would become a writer afterwards. And it's like, we always push her to pursue her passions though, but I love talking about this because it's something real that a lot of people don't realize. And now you've created a business where you can also write on the side, right? Are you working on anything now?
Yeah, I'm working on a nonfiction book.
Okay.
Yeah, but
We don't have to, I'm like, we don't have to dive super far into it. Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there. No, I love that though. And it's so exciting. Something I definitely, part of starting the podcast for voices to be explored and heard is I very much love coming into just relationships and connections with other people that have wrote it because your story is so unique. And whether it's fiction or nonfiction, your mind is so beautiful and like your light is just you. It's your, it's your creativity coming out. No different than someone who is great with music or great with art, right? Like this is its own artistic creation. Do you feel like that's been an outlet for you all these years? Like even when you were doing the business side of things, like that has almost been your kind of like a safe haven, right? Like a place that you go to that you feel like good while you're doing it?
That too, but I would
Yeah.
say that the business itself is also energizing to me
Yeah.
because it contains a lot of, like, I have different sides to myself. Like I have that very analytical side
Yep.
that's why I studied science, but then I have that creative side, and I think that is why writing is so well aligned because it has these structural elements, but also
Yeah.
the creative elements. And my current business has that too.
Yeah.
Like I do creative work, I do structural work, I help people, which to me means a lot.
Yes.
And I help people find a path that aligns too. For example, I have one client who like is head of development
Okay.
for a tech company, but he is also a composer. Like he composed choir songs and whole symphonies. And so we were exploring path for him that would combine that. And he was always like, yeah, but if he's working with musicians, like he would give up his strength in like the development and the technical stuff. And I was like, why? Like,
yeah, like you don't have to get,
why not combine it?
yeah,
Right?
like bring it, how can you make it work?
You could work on technical solutions for musicians. And then he was like, oh, wait, actually for his PhD, he did something like that, like where he analyzed how to split frequencies. So if you like record different instruments in an orchestra, usually there's a lot of noise from the other instruments, right? Like which is disturbing the recording. And so like during his PhD, he was working on like splitting that.
So fascinating.
Yeah, and so, right, like for him, we found a path that would actually combine his skills with his passion. And he also lived a long time in Japan. And so we were looking into whether he could collaborate with people in Japan. So like we were packing together.
Super cool. That's a wonderful example of the work that you do. And I feel like not that you have a favorite client or a least favorite client, but the ones that you resonate with like a lot, right? This is such a beautiful niched area of working with leaders is because you really are looking at them in a full picture. And also, instead of climbing like a ladder, you're letting their voice shine. You're letting their voice shine and you're listening to the things they feel great about themselves, but also the places where they almost, right here on capacity again, right, might not see themselves in that position yet, right? And you help them bridge that gap so that they are able to start like, oh, I didn't even think of doing this before, right? But now I feel confident, and I'm sure that also comes with you, like working with you specifically, right? And like just getting that connection with you because you are someone that's doing a little bit of both. Like I love listening to you. You work with leaders, but where your mind rests with and how you think about what your writing means to you, very unique and different. And I love that you share all of this. I love that we're talking about this right now. I'm like, so when you're working on a book now, When you are kind of like also having people think about what they like to do on more of a creative side, like him working with musicians and stuff like that, do you find that it is always kind of falling where that passion, it's creative in where I'm coming from is like music, art, or writing? Is it very specific like that? Or do you find people that it's kind of like they're creative and it's very, very niche, very different from like mainstream? Or is it all across the board?
It's different for everybody.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like maybe I attracted the creative people, but I have
Yeah.
quite a bunch of them.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not that that I'm limiting it
No,
to
of course
those.
not.
Um, but yeah, it's like I have had one, for example, who dreamt of building an own YouTube channel.
Okay.
But like he was stuck in overthinking, and
All right.
so like I helped him sort his thoughts, and then like he found what he actually wanted to build.
Yeah.
And yeah, ever since he's happy in like creating that content.
That's so cool. That's so awesome. I love hearing this. I'm like, clients are always going to be, I always say this, there's no one client that is the same. Everyone is their own individual. But this is where also, as we do the work and we're helping someone else, I can imagine also you said you like to learn and you are very like into all of sciencey stuff here. That is where that mindset, we keep wanting to learn, right? So what do you find when you have these clients? Because I'm sure just challenges come up. You don't have to name one like specifically, right? But when you have challenges now with clients, how do you feel like you transition and pivot with challenges today versus how when you first started this and came out of project management? Not that we need to go into project management, right? But like the transition just coming into this role with your business, how would you say that's kind of changed for you? Because you've expanded your capacity, right? And so this is where people also get to see that it is possible.
Yeah, I think what I needed to change is more to actually like find solutions to every individual problem.
Yeah.
Because right, like I had my set
Mm-hmm.
of problems, and so
Yeah.
like when I started off, like I thought like, okay, I'll just help the people how like whatever helped me. But
Yeah.
then I was
Yeah.
like, oh wait, they have their own problems.
Yeah.
So
It's not the same. Right. You feel like that
yeah,
though.
so
You'll keep going, please. Sorry, keep going.
no worries. But yeah, so basically, I was just like listening to what they needed, and then
Mm-hmm.
trying to find like tailored solutions to that, and that developed the program further. So I think I
Yeah.
revised my material like 3 times by now.
Yeah, I'm like, that is, I was just having a conversation about this the other day, and it's like, it's meant to evolve. What you start with is not going to be how you end because that's how it gets to. We have no idea sometimes where it's even going to go. You have a general picture, right, in your head, you have the outline kind of, but it never ends up being because it's just so much greater than we could ever imagine. And I think that's what some people don't realize. They think it's scary because it's the unknown, but it's also unknown because you've never experienced something that awesome or that great or wonderful, you know, in your just own being and your own experiences. So this is such a powerful thing for our listeners to hear, and for people that are working with you and future clients working with you, right? Is that it is time. It is time evolving into a new role, into a new place. And as we coach people and work with people, clients, excuse me, we learn things. We learn things about ourselves also. Like I'm sure you have. It's not like it's an every single day, right? But there's probably one week where you're like, man, yes, I learned so much and helped my clients, but I learned a lot for myself this week. Like there's some things I can take home, and I just, again, they weren't in my foresight before, but now I can kind of see them. So I would like to dive into them and work on them. You feel like that kind of comes up more frequently or not as frequently? I'm like, I definitely am like, it's every couple of weeks, right? I see something and I'm like, okay, I want to work on this. Like,
Yeah, I do have lessons learned too, and I'm still evolving for sure. And that's also one thing that like I would always emphasize with my clients. So
yeah,
it's like right, like as you said, things change. Things you can't estimate the outcome
yeah,
immediately, but like if you're stuck in overthinking, you will never act.
yeah,
And if you're just diving in blindly, well, you you probably run
yeah,
into a wall. So what I'm usually doing is helping people find a hypothesis of
yeah,
like a path that could be aligned and working,
Uh-huh.
and then safely experiment with that before
Yeah.
they actually pivot, right? Like, because if
Absolutely.
you're in a leadership, yeah, if you're in a leadership position, you can't just quit your job, right?
Yeah.
Like, you have your bills to pay, you have your
You
family, you
have
have
things, yes.
responsibilities and status. And so I'm helping the people explore different
Yeah.
paths first. And once they are feeling safe and secure in that, then they can pivot to it.
That was a beautiful way of saying that. It's the container. It's the container that you create for them to feel that safety. I am a huge proponent because nervous system regulation right here and all of this does stem back to feeling safe and just our environment, our surroundings, the people we're connecting with to be able to evolve and make those transitions in our life. And that is not an easy task. I always say this, if it was easy, everyone would do it, right? That's where we come in and we try to guide and help because it is a definitely scary when you don't know what the outcome is going to be. It's you've lived your life up to a certain amount of time. A lot of people are not even coming to these realizations until they're like 40, 50, 60, right? Is that kind of where your clients fall in, your like general consensus, or is it all across the board?
So yeah, I do, like, currently I have it all across the board a
Okay.
little bit, but I think one big issue is really the, like, well, I don't really want to call it midlife crisis, but it's often that, right?
Yeah.
Like, people get, they work so hard on what everybody told them is success, and then at some point they come to the point and say, like, is that really it? Like,
Yeah.
do I really want that? And then it's when they start to question their lives.
Yes.
And so, yes, like, some of my clients are a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
like, I would say, like, end 40 or something,
Yeah.
because that's the time when they start to question whether
Yeah.
they went the right path.
Of course. Of course. I'm like, again, I'm just curious because I think it's something cool to talk about. And I love touching on this is because 40, like generally where they're kind of seeing that change. And if you think about it, a lot of people that are 40 right now, their kids are kind of graduating, right? Like the world that they had created for themselves and built up to, it's almost like you're at the peak of the mountain. But now you realize you've only lived half your life. So is this the next half of this life? Or like, did I even do what I actually came here to do? Right. And it's like, that is where I love the work that you're doing, and why I love what I'm doing is like finding that purpose. I like to kind of take back the layers, right, and peel a little bit deeper into more of a healing space and regulating space. And where you are coming, and I love this, is because like you're looking to, like, there is going to be this moment where there's going to be a transition. There is going to be, and I think midlife crisis is a great way to say it, but I'm like, as time is changing, for context, I'm in my 30s, right? But like even in the 20 years I've seen it, there are younger people almost realizing this because like they just are not happy with where they want to be, basically. Like it's not that they're about to retire, they have children yet, but there's just an underlying feeling of this is not where I was supposed to be, and so they almost want to just throw in the towel, right, and like just not even do anything about it. But this is again why I love having this conversation, and why I am so happy that we're here talking about this, is because like you don't have to throw in the towel. There are people out there that can see you. And this, again, I come back to the point, like the transition is not easy, and getting to that next place or like where you want to go when you can't see it. It's a little bit of like an ego death here, right? Like we're kind of getting to that deeper layer of like our identity work. And that is huge. I do want to touch you a little bit more about like identity as a leader, how you feel now and how you guide clients to that, because that's a huge proportion of being able to get through that transition, right? Where you were kind of saying before, people can kind of spiral in like a loop. They get anxious. They're always thinking about here without being able to see like that bigger picture where the future is leading. So how would you say that shows up for you in your work? The identity position of it.
Yeah, before I answer that, I would
please.
like to go back to one metaphor that you used. Like you said something about the like climbing a mountain.
Yeah.
And I think that is where like it's easiest to see the difference between what you do and what I do, because like I see your part in like, okay, you help the people, for example, train to climb that mountain, right? Like they will get better stamina. And at some point it will feel easier to actually walk up that mountain and stay up there.
Yeah.
While like I think I touch when the mountain is at an altitude that is not meant for them. So yes, right, like you could use oxygen masks to last longer in that environment, but ultimately it doesn't really make life
Yeah.
pleasant.
No.
And so I think, yeah, so I step in when that like pure
Yeah.
training doesn't help anymore,
I
right?
love
Like if
this.
you can't
Yes.
adjust to your situation,
Yeah.
and you're just prolonging the hell you're in,
I love
and
this.
that is where I help the people find where it's better to live.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm only cheesing right here because, again, as we connected and when I met you, well, we get to know more of this right here. We've never labeled this here, but like could see that from afar almost of what you just said. And I completely agree with this because, yes, I want to get people to that place where they can see the top of the mountain. But like, I love that journey because I have so much experience of that like place, right? And I'm still in my 30s. So like I am still real, making those shifts and everything. And I love that. And you are so young too. I'm not saying that any in that regard, but I love that you touched on this because I do find, and I love making connections with other people that I can use for reference and resources and referrals too, because there will be a place and time. I always teach people that my goal is not to keep you as a forever client. Yes, as long as it needs to be that we work together, but I want you to be able to go out and do this and be doing it successfully. And it does open a whole new door when we get to that place. And now you're like, do I even want to do this? Is this even like I finally got past that point of it, right? And now exactly what you just said, I'm at the peak. That was a beautiful way to say it too. Is this the right altitude for me to breathe? That is a wonderful way to say it. I'm like, I liked yours awesome as well, girl. That was a good one because it is. We're not all going to breathe the same air. And yes, some of those people may love that view, right? And that may be perfect utopia for them, but that's not to say all 50-50 here, right? Like there is still a mass majority of people that like maybe they just the things they were taught from. I always say this, like we're 5 years old, we're just doing life, we're trying to take it all in and do and all of a sudden we get to that place where we realize we have been living someone else's life, what someone else told us to do and not what we want to do, right? And so to be able to
Exactly.
help people transit, I love it. I love what you're doing. I think it is so impactful. It's so impactful. And it's like, it shines through you too, because your demeanor, I know we've only had a couple of calls and like, you know what I mean? Back to backs, but I can get this from you. I love how you said before too, like you are about the books and the science, but I can see that like creative, more passionate, just like light side. And I think the evolution of self, right, and just finding that it's balance. It's a balance of being able to have both, being able to realize that you're deserving of both of those things, and that you can have those things, right? That is huge, and there's so many people in this world that do not realize that. So thank you for sharing that. I'm like, I love talking about this. I do want to dive into a little bit. We don't have to touch a ton on it, but you are an author. So I do want to talk a little bit about your books and what they have done to serve you. Yes, you get that sciencey side and that creative side, right, in both of those, but where do you feel like it's served you more on like a regulation and balance place? Is it been times where you go to the book because like that is just giving you that life? I know I'm going kind of fast here. What you do in leadership fuels you, right? It gives you all that energy. But where does the book come in also to fuel you and give you the energy where maybe like the leadership role, right, is more of on that sciencey, you're doing a job, you kind of keep P's and Q's here, comes away from creativity ever so slightly. How do you feel like the book supports that and lifts that up? Or writing, excuse me, the book.
Well, obviously, the book itself has less of a leadership role in it, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm leading myself,
Yeah.
and I'm leading my business, but I don't really lead other people. Although, in terms of content, I might be leading people, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm writing the books for myself, but also for other people.
Yeah.
And so it's like when I work on that, you asked for what is regulating my nervous system there.
Yeah.
I think actually it's actually maybe a method of regulating my nervous system, because writing is one of the things that are recommended, right? Like if you have spinning thoughts, then writing them down can actually help process them.
Yes.
Or speaking about it, right? Like putting something in words helps you process it, and so you stop spinning.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe it's part of like processing my own feelings and thoughts. Maybe it's just creating something, right?
Yeah.
Like diving into a world that doesn't exist, into some fantasy.
Yeah.
But maybe it's also to to see someone succeed, it's like it's hard to say,
Yeah.
right? Like, because my characters often are actually like taking on leadership roles,
Okay.
or um, having, like, being in that high stake position, and then
Mhm.
having to, like, find themselves in transition. So actually my
Yeah.
books touch on the same topics as
Yeah.
my work.
No, that's beautiful. That's exactly that answered greatly because again, you touched on it and how it regulates you, but it's like it fuels. They both fuel each other almost is what it kind of sounds like, right? And where I am getting this my outside perspective, right? The writing is more like that introspective how you would kind of do everything for self, but then the coaching, you are being the example now as you guide someone else to do the same thing. So it's like it is your practice work, if you will, or your practicum, your clinical hours, however you want to say it, right? But it's in real time. It's getting that experience that not everyone will necessarily have or do. And please, you go. I'm like, before I keep going, you go.
Mm. It's actually also, like you said, the one thing is the introspection, the other one is the practical application.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also, right, like writing can be a little bit lonely because
Yeah.
you're mainly doing it for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But I do enjoy teamwork.
Yeah.
I do enjoy that a lot, and so, like, working with clients is also energizing me because
Yeah.
I'm working with other people, and can help them.
Yeah, I actually love that you touched on this because that was a question I was going to ask you, and you did do it very well. Is being able to do that, being able to get that experience and working with them, right? But it's like as you're doing it in real time, it just all coming to. I love that you just said that way. That was perfect to touch on. That was perfect because where I wanted to come from with this is how much relationships. Yes, it's a coaching like client container, but the more you are regulated and just in your center balance, the more now that is a team dynamic, right? And that other person is able to rise almost, right? Like the rising of self in their own ways and the things that they need to overcome. But it's like that being alone, it is lonely to do it by yourself. Another thing where if it was easy, everyone would do it. If it wasn't so lonely and people had more people like support, right? And just knowing that they weren't the only ones doing it, that is huge in being able to rise up to what you want to rise to. And so again, my question was going to be is if you how you feel about that, having a team dynamic versus doing it when you do it individually, because that is something I also very much thrive on. Yes, I could do all this work and do the research, and it's so fascinating to us, right? Like I was a very science mathing like type as well. I love that stuff. But I want someone to be able to talk to, and I want to see how it is in real life. I want to watch it flourish and be what it is. And I always am the type of person that like I've done it the work myself, right? Like I walk the walk before I talk the talk because now I can talk the talk with you, and now you can also walk the walk, right? And it's a team where we're going hand in hand. I always tell clients, I'm like, I'm not doing this for you. This is together, right? Like, yes, I create the plan and have the infrastructure and all of that, but this is for us to go together. So they sometimes are surprised when I open up like my email, for example, right? I have like a 24/7 response where that is part of like packaging and programming is where we can connect every day because and I only work with a certain number of clients for this reason because it's the real-time application. It's not when I see, that's fine into what it is, but like in order for us to get to that next step, I want to see what the step right now that we're tripping on and when we're tripping on it in the real-time moment, not after the fact, right? And now it's almost like the story we're even telling and how we started tripping is not making sense to us anymore, right? Like let's get to it in real time because chances are, and I will say like every time they end up coming to something. And now when we actually meet on the next session, it's almost like they helped themselves work through it, right? They just needed the support of being able to, how you said, get those words out, whether it be paper or whether it be talking it, to expel that energy that they're feeling. They are able to take that step forward. And so I love this. I love this conversation so much. This is awesome because the work we're doing is so powerful. And it's so powerful because we want good things for people and we want them to live their best life. Like at the end of the day, you want someone to feel good in their body. You want them to feel good about their life. And you want them to know that whatever they put their mind to, they are capable of doing it. That's something I very much hear in like your coaching and stuff is like, you definitely honor the whole like individual. And if they think that they're not capable of something, you are absolutely the person to be who says, right? Like who says you help them rewrite that narrative in their head almost and give them that real time feedback. And so when you have moments like that, maybe you've had all wonderful clients and then that is so awesome, right? Have you ever had any pushback to that? Like where they almost are like, they don't see it at first, if you will, but then when you do give them that kind of like review of where we're at and like a look at what is actually going on, do they become receptive to it and then start working through it? Do you ever find a pushback, or is it just very receptive and work right through it?
Mostly receptive, I would
Okay.
say.
Yeah.
I had one client where it like where I advised to like take one step at a time
Yeah.
and pursue one path,
Yep.
and she kept trying to like do five things at once,
Okay.
and then obviously it didn't work.
Yeah.
And but there, unfortunately, she didn't want to listen to me and then quit the program
That's
because
too bad. Yeah.
she couldn't fulfill it. But
Yeah.
I mean, these cases can happen.
Yeah, of course. It's natural.
Like
Human beings.
everybody's
Yeah.
different.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, mostly the people like can actually work through their problems with my advice.
Yeah.
And since you mentioned the team or the group dynamic, it's like what I have is a group calls, and
Yeah.
so like people can actually like they feel more connected because they're
Yes.
all on the same journey and they can exchange about their experience.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that is a big
It's
part
huge.
of why this is so helpful. Like some people said that they're making so much progress because they feel more accountable, right? Like because
Yes.
in the call they say
Absolutely,
like, oh,
yes.
until next week I want to do this, and then they're like, oh yeah, well now I actually need to do it.
Yes, absolutely. I love that you touched on this because I also run a group cohort, and a very similar vibe is that it's the accountability piece. And that is where like it doesn't have to be sisterhood, brotherhood, right? But like when my container is mainly for women, right? And so in these groups, it's so beautiful also as a woman to watch like you thought you were alone in this world and you're not, and now you want to do better because other people do see you. Like it's finally like you're being seen, right, in the way that you want to be, again coming back to not who you were, not forced, but who everyone else told you to be, right? Like you get to now just be you. And again, that's scary sometimes when people are starting to like unshed all the old and step into the new. So to come to a community where they are able to practice these real time things, and also everyone else is practicing it too. So it's not like you're the only one and now everyone is like, it almost reminds me of like very high school, middle school vibes, right? But it's like, there's none of that, right? Like we're supporting and lifting each other up. And like, if someone's struggling, that is a time for us all to learn something. It's not just one person is learning that, right? Like that is a wonderful moment for us all to take something out of this experience, big or small. Now we're all rising as women again. So I love that you do it. Do you have a certain amount of number? Do you have to keep it small or big? I'm just curious. Your group.
I'm usually keeping it like at a maximum of 10 per month.
Yeah,
Just so the quality is assured.
of course.
Right? Like as you said about like your 24/7
Yeah.
availability, it's the same for me. Like I want to make sure that like I can really
Yeah.
dive deep into each individual person's
Absolutely.
life, and so I need to limit that
Yeah.
number. Yeah.
It gives the like, yes, the accountability, but the intimacy with that, right? Like being able to touch more on someone, and agree. I'm in the similar like context, because it would be so wonderful to help like a mass of women. But then I feel like we almost lose that connection piece of it that is so valuable for the growth, right? And to be able, like, then it just becomes more clicky again, like we're in high school, like I was talking about before, right? Like you have 50 to 100, that is so wonderful. But again, it takes away from being able to actually build relationships with people that are helping you to rise up. And again, I come back to kind of the topic of capacity and stuff here, right? I have like a sisterhood of people who, yes, they're still working, they're holding their own, but now you have almost built like a little net of like other people that can hold you to when you need support. And we need more of that. We have gotten so astray of being like our own individual and I am the king of the castle type of thing, that there's no room for anyone else. It's like we all get to eat at the table, right? Like we all should be eating at the table and feeling good in our bodies. And so I love that that is also something that you support and service in your work, because we all deserve that. And yeah, please.
I just wanted to say, like, I see the parallel between our programs in the sense that we create a space where people can also be a little vulnerable,
Yeah.
right? Like in a leadership position, usually you have to put on like the
The
strong, right?
show,
Like
yeah.
you have to be
Hmm.
strong to lead other people because otherwise they will lose trust in your
Yeah.
abilities. And but that can sometimes lead to that disconnect with yourself. And
Yeah.
if you have a group where you can speak openly about the challenges you're facing,
Yeah.
you feel seen, you feel understood, and that alone helps so much.
Yeah, absolutely. It is. And it's such a vulnerable place to do that. And I think this is, again, coming back to kind of like the ego and identity, too, right? Like some of us in leadership roles, we're very riding in that masculine energy, always masculine, always on, always strict to the box. It comes back to like men are on a 24-hour clock, though, right? We're on a 28-day clock. We need to ebb in some of that feminine energy. But again, in the world that we live in here, right? That's not always easy in a room where it's a 50-50 and no one's helping you talk through those things, right? Because that's just what we have learned is that we need to put on game face and go here. And yes, we can be strong in our voice and use discernment and like have boundaries and stuff, but we can also still be feminine. Like we are women, right? Like we are able to still have that about us and still be respected at the same time to show that balance because we all have it, men have it, women have it. It's all in us to be balanced here, right? And so that creating that space where women can be vulnerable to see that and to be able to kind of evolve into that is it's huge for me. That's a very big one. It's acceptance of self, right? And being able to just like, okay, this is where we're at, and if I don't like it, then I have the choice to be able to do something about it versus it is in someone's hands for the rest of it, right? Like we're taking our power back. And I don't mean that to do like a huge elated, if you will, type of thought to that, but we all have our own power. And so to give that back to people that don't think that at all and think that's like a false type of thought, I want that for people because again, we all deserve it. We all deserve it. Yeah. So I'm like, please, if you would like to share anything else with the listeners here, I would love for you to any last final thoughts or anything you would like to discuss a little bit more.
I think I just want to invite people to take a step back, as we said earlier, right? Like people are often so stuck in their day to day life.
Yeah.
So I would just invite the people take a step back, think about what you truly want from life, and then consider whether you're still on the right track. If so, work with Megan to adjust to that, and if not, then maybe consider to pivot into something that is more aligned with you.
That was beautifully said. Where can our listeners find you at?
So my webpage is yukicarlson.com.
Okay.
And I'm also on Instagram and LinkedIn.
Beautiful. The same handle, Yuki Carlson? Yes. Fabulous.
Yuki Carlson in one swoop.
One word. We will be sure to tag you in it. Thank you so much for this conversation. So much for being here today. And genuinely, thank you for the way that you serve others because we need more leaders, more founders doing this work and doing the work for themselves too, right? Like it's a dynamic of both. And so thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for listening.
Thank you too.
Oh, sorry, Lovey. I'm like, oh, God. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. If you know someone or you are someone that is ready to transition, whether that's climbing your mountain or wanting to change the mountaintop, please tag them in this episode and follow for more conversations like this. This is Connecting the Thoughts, and I am Megan.